Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, decided to go a little bit different than the normal valuation. Something that in investment banking we did a lot of. It's kind of like a company primer or company profile. And so what it is it's really this like four blocker. And it's just a quick way to kind of overview and highlight a company and try to get up to speed on them. And this is something I'd recommend if you're kind of new to investing or new to a certain segment or a company, definitely worth your time to do. Is try to throw one of these together. And it's really we would put these together as a bank inside kind of a pitch deck with a bunch of different ideas. And usually it'd be private companies, not public things. But a bunch of little private companies, you'd have 10 or 15 different ideas in a book, and then you'd go take it to a private equity firm or a corporate development team and say, hey, here's 15 companies in your space and a little bit about them. Like, you guys interested in any of these? We could facilitate an introduction. So I decided to throw one of these together for Airbnb. So if you're kind of new to Airbnb, I know it's a pretty popular company. A lot of people understand the business. But decided to throw together one of these and might throw some more together for some other companies, maybe more in the healthcare space or something that's not as easy to grasp, but something that I've worked in the past. But yeah, really it's a company primer. So Airbnb, right? You kind of have this four blocker. The first piece is, publicly known high level information. So stock price, $181, $108 billion market cap. And this is as of 3/8/2021. Founded in 2008, they're based out of San Francisco. CEO, CPO, and CSO listed right there, and they're all founders. So that's kind of an interesting thing to note that the founders are still at the company after IPOing, and it looks like all of them are still there in different capacities, which could be good for the future of the company. It looks like the management team is still together and still friends. And then pull out some recent financial numbers here, just revenue and net income. So you see revenue from 18 and 19 grew significantly, and then decreased in 2020. Obviously, that'd be because of COVID. And then net income, they were actually about flat in 2018. They didn't turn a profit. It was like negative 16 million, I think. So basically zero. 2019, they lost 700 million or zero point 0.7 billion. And then 2020, 4.6 billion, and that's actually mostly just from its equity-based compensation. I have a valuation video on the channel where I dug into that to kind of see what was really driving it. Outside of that, some recent news with Airbnb that's probably relevant. So to get this information, actually, if you go to like an investor relations site or type in press release after the company, they'll have some portion on their website where they highlight all the recent press releases for the company. But you can see they've hired a new VP of community support, and also back February 22nd, the third bullet point, they hired Donald Hicks as a VP of trust policy. So it looks like they're highlighting or they're hiring a lot of new talent kind of coming out of this COVID environment. So we could see potentially some changes to come to the company, or just, it's a good sign. Brent Potts was joining from Apple, and then Donald from Twitter. So they're getting good talent over there, which is good to see. Sometimes if you're looking at kind of lesser known companies, if you're looking at like, or even well-known companies, but just like less desirable to work for. Like if you're looking at like General Electric or something. I remember when they hired their CEO, blanking on his name right now, but he was the CEO of Danaher before and did a really good job at Danaher. It was huge news. But then there's like some defense companies where they hire a new VP and you have no idea what company they're coming from and never heard of the person or the company they're joining from. So it kind of shows the talent that kind of could be in the company in total. Some other key things, they released full year and fourth quarter results recently. And then I thought this was interesting. I didn't know this, but it was on their press release site. They are opening kind of a new East Coast campus out of Atlanta. So that's pretty interesting, Atlanta and San Francisco. So maybe you'll see um, a lot of maybe more tech companies are going to move to the Atlanta area. Who knows? It could be a new hotspot. So, I mean, you could read into that in more than just the Airbnb capacity. If you're, looking in kind of the broader like real estate markets or things of that nature. Maybe Atlanta is this growing tech hub. Um, Quick blurb on the business. Obviously, Airbnb is a pretty straightforward company, but over 4 million hosts, 800 million guests, 100,000 cities across the country and globe. So quite a few people hosting their properties. Airbnb doesn't own any of the properties. They just provide the marketplace. So they make money providing a commission off every booking. Um, They have hosts in 220 countries, regions, 100,000 cities. And I thought this was interesting. I didn't know this. So the 4 million hosts, 86% of them are located outside of the US. And then just the last little bullet there, they IPO'd December of 2020. So they've only been public now for 3 months. So, and all this information really comes from the company's 10K, 10Q, and then investor relations page. So if you could type in like Airbnb investor relations, find a lot of this. And then the fourth quadrant here, the key growth drivers, just kind of things that the company thinks is important, and then kind of my own thoughts as well in there. So hosting, top priority for the company, from quality and number of hosts to continue to grow. And they've started the introduction of long-term stays, which is like 30 plus day stays. So from here, you could easily see a product roadmap where they just become more of a kind of property management firm in a sense, where you could just book an apartment on here for sign a 12-month lease, things of that nature. They could produce a marketplace where there's kind of standardized rent contracts, and then Airbnb handles everything in the background as kind of like the trusted party, the escrow agent. So they could have a really important place there. There's a lot of Craigslist ads still for rentals, and a lot of people get scammed. So, if they made a competitive marketplace where they didn't charge too much, provided good resources as a host to do longer term stays, that could be a good spot for them. The next one, guests. They want to convert guests into brand advocates, is what they call it. My thought here is you could see them introduce a loyalty club similar to other hotel chains, right? And you get like your elite status, and everyone has that friend that like only stays at Marriott or only stays at Hilton or wherever, and they swear by it, and they have elite diamond status and get free breakfast and XYZ. So maybe you see something similar like that with Airbnb, where they do some sort of program where you earn rewards. So we could see something like that. They call out regulations. I don't know if they called it regulations in there. This is how I interpret it. They said more like new markets and the ability to work with local governments to provide the infrastructure and the regulatory hurdles, I guess, to be overcome. So I was thinking of this, there could be a ton of large investments that need to be made. Just lobbying local governments across the world, especially like New York City, right? You still can't have short-term rentals in an Airbnb, last I know. I mean, maybe it's changed in the last 6 months, but you can only do 30 plus day stays, and you have to be like a licensed hotel operator to do short-term stays. So Airbnbs effectively like aren't allowed in New York City. While there are some, it's kind of on the like down low, I think, and it's less out there. And the last thing, just technology. They said they're really going to focus on developing their application and just improving the platform. So, I mean, here, that's something where you're going to see large investments going into their technology stack and their marketplace, their application, their website, but you don't necessarily see directly related revenue from a perspective of like, you're not, you're just enhancing your current offerings. It's like, user experience is better, so maybe you see more revenue growth, but maybe not. But yeah, this was just a quick little company profile I put together. If people find it interesting or useful, happy to throw more of these together for other companies, and it'll be up on the, I'll put a link to it if you want to download it off the drive. So yeah, I hope you found this useful or interesting, and just it's a good exercise to perform if you're trying to get up to speed on a company that you're not super familiar with. It just makes it so you have to go read through all their recent filings and their 10K, and just pull out kind of some key things and really summarize it to understand about the business and what's going to drive it forward and things of that. Where it's less of a financial analysis, it's more of just making sure you understand the business in its entirety before you go model a company and try to project its revenue. If you don't even understand what's going to grow its revenue, it's hard to project it. So yeah, I hope you found it useful, and leave any questions or comments below. Thanks.